Hey everybody, it's Ron over at Becoming Enlightened Together for yet another read. In fact, I'm probably going to do two, maybe more. Again, it all depends on what happens. So I am subject to the circumstances in my environment right now, making the best of it as always. But let's go ahead and get into it. It's overall, it's a very good read. So this is just a general read. So I'm picking up the general energy for right now. And I'll go ahead and do another daily read as well after this. But I just felt compelled to do, one in regards to the overall energy right this moment. So what we're looking at for today, of course, this is the overall energy for the week, which is Othala in the upright. And basically, Othala deals mostly with things that are tied with our ancestry and so on. In fact, it's in the magical sense. And I want to talk about magic in regards to, Rune and the Nordic belief system or Celtic belief systems in general at another point in time. But Othala, the symbol for it, basically represents that of, our ancestors and the ancestral property, as well as, we are the product of everything that came before us, so to speak. Okay, so it talks about homes, houses, dwellings, property, possessions, ancestral heritage, ancestral property. It talks about that which is important to a person or a group. It talks about group order and prosperity. It also talks about our spiritual heritages and the fact that we have aid at this point in both our physical and our spiritual journeys. And it is also used as a source of safety and for increase and abundance. So overall, it pretty much covers the materialistic plane of, our wants, needs, and desires, necessities. Now, the second rune I pulled, and this is for the past, is Tiwas. Now, Tiwas belongs to the god Tyre. Okay, looks like an arrow. Now, Tyre is basically the great sky god, and it encompasses most of the attributes that are tied to him specifically. He was a god of justice and judgment and leadership and things of that nature. So those attributes are part of it, or characteristics, traits. So intrigue, sacrifice. In fact, the stories about him is that he sacrificed his own arm in order to, ensure a very specific outcome. He knew he was sure to lose it. So, and honor, leadership, authority, the ability to analyze and rationalize something, knowing one's strengths, self-sacrifice, victory and success, as well as victory in most situations or competitions, including those of a legal nature. So we see this again and again and again for months and months and months. So some of you may have pending court cases. Some may have no idea that a court case is looming, and that you may be very much a part of, some type of ordeal in a courtroom setting at some point. But this is telling you that you are sure to have victory in that, no matter how it may look up to that point when the verdict is finally given and so on. Or financially, the reward will fall into your hands and not your opponent's. Now, our present energy is that of Nalthus. Now, anything in the second group, family, or Ayat, again, it looks like the cross with the cross beam is slightly canted, is, I was saying, the second family is basically like yin and yang type energy. It gives you both good and bad, both upright and in the reverse, for the most part, with few exceptions. So it talks about a person's needs, necessities, perhaps stress, delays, obstacles, things of that nature. But it also talks about how resistance leads to strength. Okay, again, just like a wound, when it heals and builds up that scar tissue, it's much, much harder to damage that very specific area. That's what this particular energy is referring to. So It also talks about the power to overcome conflict, endurance, survival, determination. It talks about a time to exercise patience, recognition of one's fate, and self-initiated changes, and your ability to face up to your own fears, okay? Not giving into it. Now, again, being courageous is not the absence of fear, it's overcoming fear. So be courageous, okay? Now, our obstacles and challenges is algas, and algas came in the reversal. Now, typically, it's a powerful rune about protection and defense and things of that nature. But in the reverse, it talks about how somebody may be being used by others at this time. It talks about being in a state of stasis, or waiting around, feeling vulnerable, having to deal with hidden dangers that emerge, and even the consumption of or by divine forces. Loss of the divine link because of taboos, warnings given constantly along the way and not heeding them, a turning away, in other words, and basically that which repels. Their works are, let's just say, all very low vibrational, and from the spiritual plane of, acceptance and observation, they are, from a biblical perspective, as filthy rags, so to speak. And I don't know what to say about that. All the other energies in the upright, it's all very, very positive. But those are the obstacles and challenges. So we can go either way, basically. These are things that are probably pending, things that we have internally. We all have a positive and a negative side. We do. Black, white, positive, negative, good, bad, whatever you want to call it, whatever polarity you wish to bring forward. That's what we have going on inside of us, and our job is to understand those polarities and to balance them, okay? So that's probably what this is trying to insinuate, the way that I'm picking it up anyways. So, we make decisions on a second-by-second basis. So sometimes we give into our cravings. Most of the time, hopefully, if you're in the collective, you've learned how to control those cravings. And that doesn't mean not indulge, not have fun, enjoy life, or anything like that. It just means that you know what's good for you and what's not good for you, and you know how to moderate instead of become absolutely overcome by these types of things. Now, in our help and advice, we have another powerful rune, Iwas. Now, Iwas is basically in the upright, as are all but the obstacles and challenges today. So, Iwas speaks of the yew tree and rebirth and death, kind of like the, I don't want to keep using tarot analogies because it's not tarot, but very, very similar in some ways. But it's like the death card, in tarot. Talks about quests and conflicts. It talks about success and strength, reliability and dependability, trustworthiness, enlightenment. It talks about endurance again, defense and protection, having the driving force to acquire those things which you have your mind set on, motivation and a sense of purpose, setting your sights upon an achievable goal and going for it. And it also talks about a person who can be depended upon. So you're overall looked at from the spiritual perspective as being somebody who's very trustworthy and somebody who is in this fight, this battle, and you are doing your whatever work it is that you're doing in this lifetime. You'll have to forgive me. I'm been kind of out of it and so on. I haven't been sleeping lately, so no particular reason, just having a hard time sleeping. But it does affect me. So the future outcome is that of Perthra. and Perth Row 2 is in the upright. And it talks about things such as games, gaming, dice cup, lot cup, mystery, secrets, chance, uncertainty, secret matters, things which are hidden, the occult abilities. It talks about knowledge of one's destiny, knowledge of future matters, determining one's future or path. Things feminine, such as, a woman's vagina, her intuition, that second sight that, mothers in particularly have. It talks about female fertility and sexuality, and it talks about fellowship, joy, and evolutionary changes. So all in all, we got a very, very positive outlook on things, and it's telling us that we're on the right track. We're all doing the right things, or at least we are doing our best to do the right things. But there is that issue of, maintaining that balance at all times, because sometimes, temptations, especially when we're at our weakest points or what have you, can easily overcome us, and then we can fall back into some type of we can fall back into temptation on a regular basis, and then we'll have to fight our way back out of it. So just stay strong, basically, is what I'm getting at here, because that's what this energy seems to be telling us. And overall, everything else looks very, very good. So thumbs up to the collective. Keep on doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, I don't know what else to say except we're almost there. As a collective, we are almost there. That finish line, we're straddling two different worlds, two different timelines right now. So we're about ready to step over that line with our other foot, and then finally, be into our new, if you will, our new timeline, our new world, our new life. Okay? And I don't know if you can feel it too, for those of you out there who are sensitive to these types of things and the energy, and you've been keeping a very watchful eye as to what's going on both in the world and in your own psyche or spiritual world. But lots of things are changing. We can see that clearly. If you do any type of social media, and I presume you do, that's why you're here, then basically you understand a lot of the things that are going on right now and how many things are being revealed. Although they are putting up a fight, it's going to happen. There's no getting around it. They're going to do everything they possibly can. They think, has been stated in so many religious texts, spiritual texts. I'm not religious at all, spiritual, but I do like to look at, all the information that I can gather on the subject, and including spiritual. And we know that they're going to fight tooth and nail, thinking that their great wealth and material power and all that kind of stuff is going to be enough to, pull them through this or save them in the last hour, that karma is not a real thing, that they're not going to have to pay for, the recompense of their shenanigans. I'll just leave it at that. I don't call it sin per se, but at least not in a Judeo-Christian perspective kind of a way. But many people have not learned how to control any aspect of their lives, and they give in to all of their desires, even to the point of taking when they have everything they already need and more. So anyway, I don't need to say all that. You guys are very intelligent out there, so stay victorious. I'll see you again very, very soon, and God bless.